Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone at Rulewell, and shalom to all of the Archeum teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Caleb from the GMS London Forecasters Camp, England branch, back to give another lesson to help edify the Lord's elect. As always, I like to begin by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. And the real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians and West Africans predominantly. However, you will find Israelites that do look like the other nations, because we, as a people, have been scattered amongst all nations to our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like, because the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So I've got an article here from BBC News. It says Uganda's President Museveni approves tough new anti-gay law. So this is interesting, because the scriptures talk about the wine of Babylon, meaning the philosophies that America tries to push upon the rest of the world. And one of those philosophies that is being pushed is that of sodomy, which is why Babylon the Great is also spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt, because it pushes the same vibration that ancient Sodom and Gomorrah was pushing on the face of the earth, and it's going to receive a similar judgment in that it's going to get pelted with fire. In the ancient Sodom, it was destroyed with fire and brimstone, and Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction, and it's going to be an everlasting memorial for what happens to those that dare to transgress the Most High God's laws, and live such a certain way. Right, so that's America's fate. So it's interesting that the Ugandan president is actually taking a stand against it, because most other countries are drinking that wine of Babylon and becoming drunk off of it. So let me read this article, then Lord willing I'll bring out a few precepts to edify. So it says, Uganda's President Museveni approves tough new anti-gay law. This is published on the 29th of May 2023, which is, just yesterday. It says, Uganda's progress in tackling HIV is in grave jeopardy after the president approved tough new anti-homosexuality legislation, and the UN, which is the United Nations, and US have warned. An increasing number of people have been discouraged from seeking vital health services for fear of attacks and punishment, they added. President Yoweri Museveni signed the anti-homosexuality bill into law after Parliament watered it down. It's still among the harshest anti-LGBTQ laws in the world. Homosexual acts are already illegal in Uganda, but now anyone convicted faces life imprisonment. Well, really, the law according to the scriptures is that they're supposed to be put to death. But obviously we're not in our land, so we can't keep those laws. As the scriptures say, while all things are lawful, they're not expedient. So we have to understand that, we can't practice the laws according to the law as we should, because we're not in our land. Baruch 3:8 clearly says we are yet this day in our captivity. But still, this is at least something as a deterrent, because you need to deter these things, because otherwise it will just destroy your society, if not through sickness and moral degradation, ultimately by the judgment of the Most High. That's the judgment to be feared. So let's read on. It says, the legislation imposes the death penalty for so-called aggravated cases, which include having gay sex with someone below 18. Oh, we'll see, good. Or where someone is infected with a lifelong illness, including HIV. In a joint statement, 3 of the world's leading health campaign groups, the US President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, UN AIDS and the Global Fund have said they are deeply concerned about the harmful impact of the legislation. Yeah, because they're all pushing that wickedness, man, because Esau is the fucking devil, working on the part of the devil on the face of this earth, man. So everything that's anti-God, he will do. Anything that's upright and righteous is going to be against. Uganda's progress on its HIV response is now in grave jeopardy, the statement said. The stigma and discrimination associated with the passage of the Act has already led to reduced access to prevention as well as treatment services, it added. Well, you reap what you sow, man. You lay down with dogs, you get fleas. In a statement later on Monday, US President Joe Biden described the passing of the law as a tragic violation of the universal human rights. Fuck you, Joe Biden, and fuck your universal human rights. All that matters is the law of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. Urging Uganda to repeal the legislation immediately. Mr. Biden also said Washington was considering additional steps, including the application of sanctions and restrictions of entry into the United States against anyone involved in serious human rights abuses or corruption. Look who's talking about fucking corruption. America's the most morally corrupt, degradable nation on the face of the earth, man. Reading on, it says the legislation has also been condemned by Ugandan campaign groups who have instituted court action to annul the legislation on the grounds that it is discriminatory and that it violates the rights of LGBTQ plus people. A similar law was struck down by Uganda's constitution in 2014. Ugandan rights activist Claire Bairaguba said it was a very dark and sad day for the LGBTQ plus community and all Ugandans, Reuters news agency reported. Nah, man, this is righteous, man. You go, Ugandan president. Don't back down to fucking Biden and NATO, man. Fuck them, man. The Ugandan president has today legalized state-sponsored homophobia and transphobia, the activist added. Parliamentary Speaker Anita Among welcomed Mr. Museveni's decision to sign the bill into law, saying it would protect the sanctity of the family. That's right. We have stood strong to defend the culture, values, and aspirations of our people, she has added in a statement posted to Twitter. Ugandan lawmaker Asuman Basalirwa, if I'm saying that correctly, the anti-homosexuality bill's sponsor, told the BBC NewsHour programme it does not bother anybody if two adults are engaged in gay sex in private, and even then the law does not look for those who are doing those things in private. But once you seek to do it in public, then you are recruiting others to do things in your way. That's where the problem is. The lawmaker also reported that the US had cancelled a visa issue to the speaker, making her the first official to face punitive actions over the new law. The US embassy in Uganda has not yet commented. The bill was passed in Parliament earlier this month, with only one MP opposing it. The US is a major trading partner of Uganda. The East African nation benefits from the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which gives it easier access to lucrative US markets. Yeah, but they're still keeping the, still holding the Ugandans under the thumb, man. So ain't no fucking major loss if they don't get to trade in US, man, because they're still fucking having to serve their enemies, man. The US and UNAIDS, the Global Fund, have also played a major role in backing Uganda's long-standing efforts to curb HIV/AIDS. By 2021, 89% of the people living with HIV in Uganda knew their status. More than 92% of them were receiving antiretroviral therapy, and 95% of those on treatment were virally suppressed, they said in a statement. Together, as one, we call for the Act to be reconsidered so that Uganda may continue on its path to ensure equitable access to health services and end AIDS as a public health threat by 2030, the statement said. Base video.
This country will stand firm. And once it passed, I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we are going to reinforce the law enforcement officers to make sure that homosexuals have no space in Uganda.
That's right. That's right, man. That's right. So let's get this in the scriptures. Leviticus 20 and verse 13. Where are we at? It says, if a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Let's read this again. Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So that's what the scripture says, man. So may the Most High strengthen this Ugandan president to keep pushing, man, because, you know, this LGBTQ thing has gone way too far. You know, it's going to be put to an end pretty soon, because the scriptures say in 2nd Ezra that because of their great pride, the city shall be troubled. So the Most High has seen everything that's going on in the earth, and it's not long now before he sends his son Yahushua to come back and destroy America, Babylon the Great, and to cleanse the earth of this great wickedness through fire, basically. The earth's going to be cleansed through fire. So with that, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to all the Yakim that are teaching this word with faith and truth and sincerity. And I'll catch you on the next one. Shalom for now. Wa abba babal. Wa kwame shawala. Shalom.